بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اهلا بيكم جميعا. انا سعيده بعدد الحضور لان ده معناه ان الموضوع مهم جدا جدا جدا. يعني خلاص هو كده لوحده مجيكم معناه ان هو مهم وعايزين نعرف ايه اللي بيحصل في الدنيا. فانا برحب بيكم في المركز المصري للدراسات الاقتصاديه. لازم يعني اعتذر عن تاخير الدكتور عاصم جزار لان هو كلمني الصبح استودعي مجلس الوزراء.
عاصم جزار said that he is going to follow and he will be here, and I told him that we are going to speak and we will maybe attack him. We do not have problems. You have to come in order to listen and to know what is taking place. Ahmed, you are here. You are from the Ministry of Finance. We will start now. I want to introduce my guests, those who are honoring us to be with us. We will start by the government first. Ms. May Abdel Hamid from the Finance Real Estate Fund. She has 25 years experience in this field. She was in very important jobs, mainly the last one. She is working in the real estate member of the reconstruction bank. She is full experience in real estate matters. Engineer Hisham Shukri, chairman and the CEO of Ru'ya for investment. He is one member of the ECES and he worked as a consultant for the International Organization for Children. In West Africa, he started as a real estate developer in 1992, and he established his company Chiba that was in charge of different investment projects and compounds like La Vista in Sokhna and a number of other compounds. Delal in Sokhna and in North Coast. He is well experienced. Dr. Ashraf Dwidar. He is the CEO of Ardak Company for Development and Real Estate Investment. It is one of the big companies in this field from 1994 up till 2006. He worked in different in engineering firms. He held a different post in government. He has an experience in this field. Mr. Mohammed Al-Barouni is now head of the credit department in the CIB. He has a long experience in investment and he worked in this field, and he is in charge of real estate and infrastructure and construction material and different posts as well. The idea is that our panel includes this mixture of people. We have the banking sector together with the government and the real estate, and Dr. Ashraf Dwidar and Mr. Hisham in the field of operations and experience in this sector. It's a great pleasure to have Mr. Dr. Hussein Sabur. He is the old experienced person. We are very happy that he is with us. I'm not going to speak individual to everyone, but Dr. Hussein is with us, Ambassador of Singapore, and Mr. Rida, representative of IMF in Egypt, and Mr. Rida Farahat, the previous governor, and Ms. Jehan, assistant of the presidency, and the prime minister, and Mr. Ahmed from the Ministry of Finance. We will start. We have a brief summary in order to start this, and then we are going to delve into discussion. Our title is, Will Egypt enter in the bubble of real estate that would threaten the economy? This is the topic of discussion. For those who are coming the first time, the ECS, we are a research center, non-profitable, private, we have a strategic, a very clear strategy that we combine between economic competence and social justice. If we have economic competence without justice, we are not going to benefit from this. We are speaking about a very weak economy then, but if we have a weak economy, then no one is going to benefit from. This is the orange. If we're speaking about a weak economy in poor community, then we don't aim to this. We know to have a strong economy in order that all people would benefit. We need a real sustainable development, and all activities of the center is in this direction, and we care to have applied research, not a theoretical one. We have applied researches that influence the policies, and we are trying to help the state continuously in order to improve and in order to say the facts as it is in full transparency. We will start with our presentation. We have a quick presentation. Our contents are: what is the aim of this seminar? What is the concept of the bubble, generally speaking? What are the international experiences? We have spoken about this, and we decided to concentrate on one in particular, which is China. We'll tell you the reasons. Is there a real a necessity that we would be worried about this? And what are the main questions for discussion? And these will be the focus of our discussions today. Our aim is that our aim of this seminar is, for once we are doing this in Egypt, we want to know the problem in advance. The problem is not that it's a bubble today or not. Are there things that happen in this market that would change and would let us be worried about this, and that we have to change our orientation? We want to study the problem in advance and to study how can we avoid it. If this is not the real problem existing, we should not do as usual, that we are going to confront the problem and then look for a solution. This is our aim. What is the concept of bubbling? That whatever the sector we're speaking about, there is an increase in the assets that exceeds its real value in the market, that is continuously and accelerating. There is a default for those who are working due that the prices are not normal, that will lead to a real explosion of this bubble, and will have its impact on all those who are working in this market and markets linked to it. It is not only this, the real estate market, but the surrounding one, and it will have its impact on the economy, that I'm going to feel that on the micro level it is influenced. We are speaking about the experience of the countries. We have thought about 4 countries: USA. USA is the first victim of this, and this was a big topic at the global. Japan suffered, Spain is about this, and China has a long story. We studied those, and we decided to exclude Spain, because what took place was due to the international crisis, so it differs from Egypt. We excluded the USA and Japan because they differ from the Egyptian case. They are linked to the crisis of the money market, and we do not have this problem. And hence this is not our problem. The Chinese experience is very similar to the Egyptian one, and it has a lot of lessons that we have to study and to take into consideration. I want Yasmine, the researcher, to come and speak. She's the researcher. She's going to speak about the China case. We're speaking about 3 things: the reasons of the problem, and the symptoms of this bubble, and what are the policies taken by the government to confront this. There is the social, economic, international crisis, and how it influenced the economy in China, and the wrong policies and wrong beliefs for those who are working in this. From the social and economic, there was very limited opportunities for foreign investment, and hence they went to invest in the real estate. In addition, that there was a cultural pressure the person who wants to get married that he has to own a home, and this increased the demand on real estate. In addition, that there are rented ones for the poor ones, and the rich people want to invest in projects of a high income and revenue, and it is secured and safe as well. The international crisis have influenced the economy in China. In 2008, there was an inflation in the currency, and the exports were reduced, and hence people went to invest in real estate. In 2008, the Chinese government thought that the best way in order to increase the local demand and to create job is to revitalize the urban buildings, and they gave 4 trillion yuan in the market. Increase in the prices of the real estate made it as a stomach of the Chinese economy that would digest whatever is in the market. The wrong policies that the government allowed the people to own more than one house, and there should be reform in the tax system and to redistribute the VAT for the interest of the central government and not the local government only, and this led the local government to sell its land in order to meet the deficit in its budget. They saw that people thought that in this sector everything will be constructed and will be bought by people. The bubble has economic impact and social impact. The economic impact in the real estate, that the volume increased and investment increased as well, and it is from 4.2 in 1999 to 13.2 in 2011, and the average of construction has been greatly increased, and this crisis reached the construction in non-residential areas that led to ghost towns, people buying houses but they are not inhabiting it. The biggest mall in the world was operated by 2% only, and Tianjin city wants 25 years of development in order to use the vacant places. What is the impact on the Chinese economy? The investment have increased by 20 to 30% of the GDP, and the banking sector feared this, and there was a reduce in the production sector. The social impact that homes are very expensive, and this led to a big gap between the poor and the rich in China, and people started to want to buy residential buildings. The government, in order to control this, there were policies in this field and amendment in the monetary policy and the different directions to the companies owned by the government, and they tried to reduce the prices of the buildings and took serious steps in order to have economical buildings and to limit the number of buildings bought by people. They approved 35% of the down payment for buying the house and 60% for the second home. In the amendments of the monetary policy in 2007, they put restrictions on the real estate mortgage and loans given to the developers, and 2010-2011 they increased these administrative decisions. This crisis made the prices up to 2016. The Central Bank of China and the government tried to control this crisis. and there were different policies that had its reaction. The government issued that the government owned by the companies owned by the government should go out of the market immediately, and its role should be in social housing only. Thank you very much. Should we be worried about this? Should we be worried about what is taking place? Yes, yes, a big yes. Why? What are the reasons? We have a number of reasons. There are very clear changes in the dynamic of the real estate market, and we cannot ignore this. There are different phenomena due to these changes. There are weak attempts to confront this problem. This is a level. Another level, that the government is a main player in this sector as a real estate developer, and this is one of the big problems. The assessment of the previous project is not encouraging. We will say that what did they do, and we are enhancing in this. So these are the questions to be answered. There are change in the state is now trading in lands, and there is an increase in social housing, and this is rather positive, but it is exaggerating, and this is a question whether it is right or not. And there is the real estate tax that will be changed once again. It is one of the policies that are existing, and there is none tackling the basis of the problems. There is another, at the macro level, there is an increase in the participation of the real estate in the GDP and investment and in operation. Those three together lead to problems. We are going to speak about this quickly, and it will have a lot of nice things to say about it. What is taking place? Number one, change in the dynamics of the real estate market, increase the demand on small units. Money is not available in order to buy, and people do not have money. There are very fierce economic situation, and all people, and the government being a main player in the real estate is done clearly. What are the phenomena? The result of these changes, that there is increase in the offer, increase in the number of units, and there is a secondary market that is not working at all. People do not have things, that do not know how to sell, and there are primary sellings only. And this is an example. The system itself, the system of the elements of the real estate market, there is the government that is putting policies. These are the bases. The developers, the people are constructing, the clients, those who are buying, the banks are financing this. The new element is that the government now is a main player in this, and we are having new cities, the new capital. I think we have 21 projects and the Galala. There is an abnormal increase in the prices of the units, and here I would like to say that what is interesting, that when they are doing the presentation, they said that those who are working in the presentation, Mr. Walid said, the figures that you have cannot be true, cannot be right, because I put this Marasi and the North Coast 90 million, and Mr. Mu'taz today said it is 105 million. 111 per unit, that you go 2 weeks a year. The prices in the new capital is 11,000, and is this what is really wanted in the market or not? This is a question. Slowness in selling in the secondary market, people who are buying the building in order to keep it, and then to freeze it, and then to sell it with a high price, and it's a matter of bargaining. The problem is rather very difficult. People do not know how to confront this. The primary selling is taking place. We have reached that we are paying 0%. In the morning we spoke about this. He is buying, those who are buying in the primary market, no one is checking the background whether they can pay or not. He pay 2-3 checks, and then he stops, and that's all. So what is taking place is a primary selling, and then there would be a big problem confronting the problem that the developers tried to facilitate this in an exaggerated manner. We have reached that I'm not going to pay a deposit, okay, take it, and then I'm going to give you money at the very end. And they are keen, the banks are very keen in dealing with the developers and in assessing the client, because he feels that there could be problems. All these are changes in the market, facilitating the procedures. None of us does not receive less than 20 calls a day from real estate firm, and they decide pay 5, pay 10, do not pay. This is not a joke, it's the reality. Do not pay any installment, and the first installment will be after 20 years or 2 years. This is abnormal dynamics in the market. The units now are smaller in size. There was a video we have the scene from Muhammad Subhi, who speaks about these small-sized apartments. The banks are very cautious because they do not give money easily, and the government is the main player in this field, as I said. And this is the second level. The start of the problem started by changing the role of the residential authority. They started to sell the lands, and the land prices have been increased 3 times from 2004 to 2007. They allowed the different companies in order to own lands, and this led to the inflation and to the increase in the prices by 30% in 6th of October and the New Cairo. Then this problem is linked to the governmental authority who is trading in land. Is this our aim? We want to have development or to trade in lands? Developing, assessing the previous project is rather worrying, because the new cities did not realize its aim. What in front of us are the new cities, and in the second is the year in which they have established and started this. The third column says the number targeted when being established. When they established the city, they aimed to attack these number of people. The real number, according to census, as the percentage of what is targeted is much less than what is targeted. Then they have different review of these, but we are very far from being inhabiting the new cities and enhance of this. There are other enhancement in this, as in the green color, and normally this is very far from working accordingly, and we are establishing new cities. The question, we have very limited resources, and our priorities should include other things. The closed and vacant units are 25% of the houses in Egypt. These are the reasons why we are worried about and enhancing in this. The real estate tax has had 2 impacts. It's a positive impact on the long run. What is used that now the building is not something that I'm putting aside, but I'm paying for this. Hence, to use it as a store value should be think about again. Then they will not buy it in order to make it as a storehouse. But at the short term, this is a problem. People want to sell their apartments in order not to pay the real estate tax. They are going to sell in the secondary market. That has a problem. In addition to other matters related to this tax, that we will have a special seminar for this. This is a very different topic, but we're speaking about within its participation in increasing or solving of the problem. Increasing in the GDP, the percentage of GDP in 2016-17 is 2.6% if we add the real estate activity and reconstruction activities. Here, the microeconomy depends totally on the real estate and construction. Look at the percentage of growth. Looking to the percentage of investment distribution per capita is 27%. If we have a problem in this sector, we will be really harmed. A lot of people are working in this sector, and there are different sectors that are linked to this, not only a direct investment. Should be worried? Yes, 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 yes. I'm thinking of the problem of China because there are things that are relevant to us in Egypt. We should take this into consideration. The limited investment opportunities for the Egyptians internally in order to have a real value of their money. Either they put their money in the bank or outside. All other activities the Egyptian investment cannot participate in. The government thought that the best way is to increase the demand of job opportunities in order to revitalize this market. We have entered in this, and we had a lot of job opportunities in order to activate the market, but we are leading to another problem at the same time. Had increase of the number of the price of the building. This is the stomach of the economy. This is absorbing all money, but the prices we have heard about, I do not believe that it is very difficult if you go 2 weeks a year to spend this and you pay £2 million. This is a very important point, which is increase of demand. I believe that those who are working in the sector feels that whatever is built will be sold. I have attended a seminar with the businessmen organization. They said no problem because the demand on the building is higher, and then we will not face a problem. But matters is much more than that. It has its repercussion in different sectors as well. What is important to see in China that they have specific policies that are very clear, allowing a person to have a building. This is their concern, and we don't care about this. When they interfered, at the level of the banks, and they said that they have to pay part of this in order not to be able to take another building, and they have different instructions to those who are working in this sector. Maybe the private sector should cooperate, but the public sector, I can control this.
There is no estimation of what the real reason is for the crisis. I have institutions that have to be reviewed. I have to revisit their goals, like many associations, and also the problem of the land, which is very big. And we are researching it, and we had a big summit on it. We have lots of problems. We have fragmentation on the institutions, and we have contradictions. There are different concepts and classifications. There is no database. We have a big paper on this, and also particular suggestions on what to change, and because the current situation is that we have that the environment is expelling the place, and so we have to look into the whole problem, that there are roots of concerning the land, and if we do not if we only focus on the symptoms, we'll never solve the real problem. And so we have our website. So the important questions that we want to discuss, and I'm going to put them on the screen and give everybody the opportunity to tackle the angle they want to. We want to tackle the demand issue. Believe it or not, we do not even have anybody to look into the details. Is it a bubble or not? The bubble was mentioned, was a word mentioned 2 weeks ago in a meeting, but it is or is it a balloon? Because bubbles explode or are quickly ended other than balloons. So what are also the factors inside the sector and outside reasons? What are the policies for the government and are they sufficient? Are we doing the right things in order to stop it, or is when the government entered as a player, what happened? And we have our specialists to make their observations. Is real estate funding one of the solutions? Are there lessons learned from the 90s? Is the real estate tax, is it helping, or is it constantly changing, and is it going to achieve any targets in this way? How is it affecting the thinking inside? Is it a policy that came by coincidence? Is it servicing? But it was not meant for this, but it has an impact. What are the amendments in concerning real estate funding, and what are the dynamics? Are there certain registers and the use of the units currently, would it help in solving the problem? How is are the high prices affecting the bubble? These are some of the questions. Thank you. And now we are going to start or open the discussion.